Got a few more parts here to clean up for the 86 CR125. These hubs, we're going to pop the bearings out of them, bead blast them, and Cerakote them. This rear spring, bead blast it, powder coat it, and we'll do the same here on this ATAC nozzle. We'll get that blasted off and then hit it with some fresh Cerakote. When I took apart the 96 CR250 to start the Steve Lamson replica build, I was just chucking parts into this bin. So now that I've got the bike apart, I need to go through and organize all these different parts. So this gas tank, I've already peeled this decals off, drained the gas out of it. This is going to need a lot of sanding and buffing to get this yellow finish off. But in the meantime, it looks like it probably needs to get hit with some simple green to get this oil off. Then I'm going to pull these mounts off, and I'm going to pull the petcock off. Those are going to get vapor blasted, cleaned up. The hardware is going to get re-zinced. Radiators. The radiators are pretty straight on this, so definitely going to try and reuse them. We'll set one there, and get the other one, and we'll set that one there. So you can see the tabs are a little bit tweaked on them, little hourglass shape there. I'll go through and we'll get those straightened out. I'll show you guys how to straighten them with a couple 2x4s and a hammer. Hopefully not damage them in the process. Alright, going back to the bin, we got some Renthal handlebars here. They're, I don't know if they're bent or not. I'll have to evaluate that. They look, well, the cross pad's definitely tweaked, so good chance they're bent. But we'll throw those in the pile for later. We might clean them up. Kill switch, I'm not going to use. If you've been following my Instagram, I'm starting to do some replica kill switches for HRC. So we'll get one of those on here when we're putting it back together. Some little bolts. The linkage, this bolt is frozen in here. So I'm going to have to put some heat on that and press it out. But these will go into the vapor blast pile. We'll probably pop all these bearings out of here and get them cleaned up, re-greased or replaced. What else? Electrical hoses, throttle tube assembly. So the coil, hopefully the coil's good. Electronics, that stuff will get a simple green bath along with the hoses. I'll throw these clamps in the vapor blast cabinet. Those will shine up nice. It's clutch cable, throttle cable. These things have seen some wear and tear, and they're ready to get replaced. So probably just chuck those. So here's the rear shock. So this guy, I'll completely disassemble this. I'm gonna hit it with some fresh Cerakote. We'll powder coat the spring. I'll send the collars and the lock nuts out and get those re-zinced. And then all these aluminum, billet aluminum ends inside there, we'll get those blasted and cleaned up. Airbox, it's in really good shape. It's not busted up or anything. On the sides, all the inserts are still there, so we can get this cleaned up. This will be, we'll put this in the pile with the gas tank to go out and get washed again. Seat, we'll have to figure out. Looks like I had that shock sitting on there for too long. But I'm not overly concerned with this seat cover. And I'll probably end up replacing the seat foam. We'll have to see what it looks like. I've had luck if these aren't broken. The mounting tabs, just hitting those. The hydroblast cabinet, looks like someone did a repair. Instead of using rivets, they bolted it in place. We'll put that in the let's wash it pile. Cross pads junk, carb, so this will be vapor blast, cover I'm not going to use. This is an O-ring chain. Not going to use that. Works connection, left side frame guard. Not going to use that. You guys follow my Instagram. I've got some HRC replica stuff that's really cool and really ties off that replica look. Foot pegs, same deal. We're going to use HRC stuff. Clutch perch. We are going to go OEM Honda. Shifter, I'll make an HRC replica one of these. And these guys will get cleaned up. We'll throw those in the pile. Got the rear spring all cleaned up, blasted it, got all the paint and rust off. I'm gonna go ahead and do some powder coating. This is the Eastwood kit that I got. This is actually the second one that I've purchased. I had the other one for around 5 years and it gave up on me, and I got this one last year. And it does a really good job, you know, for a hobbyist doing powder coating. I wouldn't recommend this for professionals. I don't think it has the volume or enough power to do large quantities. You're also kind of limited to the thickness that you can do. I feel like I can get a good coating on there, but I don't get it as thick as what I see from the guys that do my frames for me. But all in all, it's a pretty good kit. So I'm going to use a little bit of this prep solvent, just spray it on the spring and wipe it off. It's a degreaser, wax remover. It's going to help that powder to stick to it and not have any issues. So I've got powder on the spring. I didn't set the camera up. I didn't want to get powder all over it and worry about ruining my phone. Alright, timer went off. Been in there 20 minutes. Looks pretty good. Got some good flow all the way across. Nice color. So I've got two air boxes here. They're both 96 CR250. The one that came on the bike the other day, I noticed it actually is broken right here in the corner. Not a big deal, but you know, I don't want to put broken parts back on the bike if I don't have to. And I picked this up from a guy on Facebook Marketplace. I wasn't sure, you know, from the pictures how good a condition it would actually be in, but it's not broken anywhere. The only issue is the boot is missing the little pull tab right there where it meets the carburetor. So I think out of both of these, I can make one good airbox setup. I'll just steal the boot off of this box and put it onto this one. This one's actually really clean. The ring that goes around here still has the original paint on it. So anyway, gonna go out, pressure wash these things, get them cleaned up. I got some hardware back in the mail today. I sent some stuff out to Dave Allen at Throwback MX, and he does some zinc plating there. So I had him do some parts for the rear shock, and then also the lock nuts for the column on the triple clamp. And he also does just the metal tips on your brake pedals. If you're in need to get the that rusty metal tip replated, he can do it while it's still attached to the aluminum brake pedal, which is cool because then you don't have to take it off and figure out how to re-rivet it. got the frame all cleaned up. Went ahead and took it outside, simple green, scrubbed it, hosed it off, used the pressure washer. Same with the swing arm. Got a couple of ratty old air filters here. This one actually looks like it was brand new, and they just left it in the bike and the mice chewed on it. And it's garbage now. And then on this side, I've got both of these air boxes cleaned up, and I'll be swapping the boot from this one over to this one, and that's the one I'm going to use on the bike. I just finished cleaning up these hoses, at least got most of the grime off. I'll probably wipe them down again and make sure they're, I got all the dirt and oil and everything off from them. Took some time and cleaned up these radiator louvers. These things are like impossible to find, so I'll probably reuse these. They're in really good shape for the year. Some stress marks, but at least that's to be expected. The gas tank, that's going to need a lot of work. I'm going to set that aside for now. Got the bite wings all cleaned up. These go inside the air box. I don't know if they help the airflow. These things were filthy, but I call them bite wings. They kind of look like what the dentist sticks in your mouth when they're taking x-rays, only supersized. On the vapor blast table, I've got stuff on the right that I've cleaned. I've at least put it into the vapor blast cabinet once and got most of the grit and grime off. And then the stuff here on the left still needs to go in and get cleaned up. None of all these parts right here, none of these I'm going to use in the build. I've got different triple clamps. I'm going to use a different perch. The shifter, I might use it. I don't know yet. Wheel spacers, blocks. I've got new blocks for it. But yeah, I still got to blast the carb. Still got to clean up, get this bolt out of the linkage. And I'm not going to reuse this, but it's in really good shape, so I'm going to clean it up and hang on to it. These radiators are actually really good. I got them blasted off. I'm going to try and straighten them here, so I'll walk you guys through how to use some 2x4s and hit them in the right place and get them straightened up. I've got all the parts back for the 86 CR125 rear shock. I re-powder coated the spring, got most of the aluminum parts vapor blasted, got a new bumper, and I sent out all of the steel parts over to Dave Allen at Throwback MX. He's been doing an awesome job doing zinc stuff, and he replated these for me, did a zinc, and then dips them into a yellow chromate and gives them that OEM look. These things came out really awesome. So can't wait to put this rear shock together. I just got to get some shock oil. I went over to my local dealer and they didn't have any, so I'm gonna have to order some. And then I'll probably take apart the rear shock for the 96 and send this out to get this replated, but go through the process of how to take that apart at the same time. All right, so looking at the right side radiator, you can see it's a little caved in right through here, and over on this side it's hourglassed in right there. Flip it over to this side, this tab's bent in, and this side's caved in a little bit right here. So these radiators are really hard to find, so I'm going to do my best to try and save this one. So what you're going to need, a couple 2x4s and a big hammer. So we'll get this set up and show you what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to do this and try to not knock my camera over here. So this is the low spot right here, setting it on a nice flat surface, something that preferably a 2x4, just so you're not hammering this aluminum into like the concrete floor or something. Try and set it up on a bench, put it on a 2x4, and then you're going to use another block and use the edge of it to and rest it right there. Don't push it into the louvers. Just come down straight on it like this. And you're just going to hold it there and drive on the top of the block. So give it a couple hits and you can see what it's doing. It's already starting to push this fin down and open it up. So we'll give it a couple more whacks. So there we go. We've got this whole side pulled down. I'm gonna whack it over here a little bit and just pull this corner, pull this down so it's straight with the corner. Yeah, that's looking pretty good now. Might actually hit it here one more time. Try and get this. Still got a little bit of a wave in it. There we go. That looks pretty good. So that's the method right there. So I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna work these other edges and do the same thing. So I was able to get the radiator pretty straight. Both sides look pretty good now. The next step will be straightening out all the little fins. So this is a tedious job, but you know, you're just gonna kind of go in here with a screwdriver and move the fins around like this. And this is a good winter project. You know, when you're bored, or say you get your ACL fixed and you're just sitting on the couch for 6 weeks, that's what this is going to be good for. So I'm going to save this for end of November and December. All right, guys, stay tuned. Next time we'll be putting this shock together. We'll be taking this shock apart. We'll probably tear into this carburetor, get this thing cleaned up, maybe blast the rest of this stuff. I'm anticipating my zinc hardware coming back, and I'll need to get this swing arm ready. I still need to machine a bracket for the rear caliper mount. So do that, get this thing cleaned up, put it in the vapor blast, and I'll go through, put a brush finish on it. But thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next video.